Welcome back, fellow Illumineers, to Be Our Guest. It's time to talk draft. Ravensburger has released official rules for draft and sealed over the weekend, and to help you get ahead of the competition, we've enlisted the help of the magnificent, the masterful, the magnanimous Wero the Great. Both Wero and I are avid drafters and have actually been drafting a homebrew format spearheaded by Knives Nerd Corner and Traverse Tavern over the last couple months. As such, we've got plenty of drafts and games to draw on to help you decide what to pick and when. Note, we'll be starting by covering solely commons and uncommons, as you'll be seeing and picking a lot more of them as they make up at least 75% of the pack. After we've got through all 6 colors, we'll come back with a 7th video compiling the rankings for all the rare, super rare, and legendary cards you can't wait to draft. So, if you want the key to crushing the draft competition at your local game store from 2 seasoned drafters, please be our guest. So, at the end of the video, we're going to have a chart where you can see everything ranked all nice and neat. If you want to just skip to that, by all means. I know some of you like to skip to the end of the books, and that's fine. But the rankings that we're going to go through is we're going to go through S, A, B, C, D, F. And what does that refer to? So, S tier will be first pickable cards, the cards that you want to slam down when you see them first in the pack. A tier will be ideally picks that you're going to get 2 through 4. So they're not necessarily first pickable. You would be satisfied with first picking them, but you want to see them in 2 through 4. B would be picks 5 through 8 where you're happy to see them. C would be cards that you're looking to wheel, but you're still happy to have them in your deck. D would be kind of the last picks, include if you must, hoping not to type thing. And F would be, don't include unless you absolutely have to. You have no other choice. Someone is holding you against your will.
Deja vu.
We're back! And oddly dressed the same. So strange.
Yeah. It's like we never change our clothes.
Ever. I mean, I was telling my buddy Patrick on our constructed review yesterday that I said, please don't look like the World of Warcraft guy from South Park. You know, the guy that's just like way back in his chair and just we like slowly descend into that over time. All right, so we're talking Emerald today, which I think, spoiler alert, might be my favorite draft color. I don't know. We'll see how Wero feels after this, but I'm willing to drop it now. I think it might be my favorite draft color. We'll see.
It's got some good stuff, but I don't think we're starting with the best because we start with Prince Ali, who in constructed he is great as a shift target for Heroic Outlaw because he has Ward. It is very likely that he will survive long enough for Heroic Outlaw to shift out onto him, challenge something, and take it out. In draft, where you're a lot less likely to get that outcome, this is a 2/2 with 1 lore and basically nothing else because, again, most removal is challenging.
Yeah. Ward on a 2/2 is useless.
It's a D. In draft, he's a D.
Yeah.
In constructed, there's absolutely a place for him.
And I think that there's other more viable 2-drops in Emerald. So even saying I want a 2-drop, I don't think Aladdin's the one for you. I agree. D.
Yeah.
All right, Cheshire Cat. Your thoughts on the kitty cat that dies to the 1/1s?
He does die to a 1/1, but he is also 2 lore. I don't know. Like later in the game, if you pop him out, he'll kill something more important. I would put him as a solid B.
I don't know. You say that, but by that time, I've probably accrued a couple of 2/2s that are just sitting around waiting to do something impactful. And Cheshire Cat's the perfect opportunity for them. I don't know. I equate him again to LeFou. Like, am I willing to pay 3 ink for 2 lore? Because that's probably what I'm getting. Maybe I'm getting 4 out of it if I'm lucky, because he's got that 3rd willpower that LeFou doesn't have. I've got him at C because I'm not necessarily against him being in my deck, but I'm definitely not thrilled about it.
I mean, he is also inkable. I'll stick with him at B. I think he's fine.
All right, fair enough. All right, so I think I know where Duke of Wesselton is for you, but
yeah, again, it's the same card.
That maybe are watching this
same card. A tier. This is the peak of 1-drop. Yeah.
Wero loves his 1-drop 2/2s. I'm a little bit lower down. I'm at B. I want him later in the pack, but I still think you absolutely want to be playing them. So here's a good question, since we've covered this so many times now. What's your kind of capacity that you want of 1+2/2s? How many would you have in your deck if you could just have as many as you
In
want?
one deck, there's definitely a point where like I stop grabbing them.
Yeah.
I think a decent draft like heuristic
Yeah.
is go singleton as much as you can,
Yeah.
unless there's a really, really good card. So anything in S tier, you want multiple copies of.
Yeah.
Anything else, even like A tier, you're probably going to start getting diminishing returns. So try to like diversify a little.
Interesting. So for me, I'm still with A tier. I probably want as many as I can get to a point, like probably not 7 of anything, but I still kind of want as many as I can. For me, I think I'd be happy with like 2 to 3 of these in a deck. Just because that way I don't necessarily have to draft lesser 1-drops. So I don't have to necessarily drop Hey Hey or Timon when I've got Stitch New Dogs. So I'd be happy with like 2 or 3 in a deck, and I'd be okay if I had 4. Anything more than 4, and I'd be concerned. All right. Now we got where I want to be, which is Flynn Rider. Where are you at on Flynn?
A tier. So the issue you had with Cheshire Cat is, pardon me, that small drops can just take him out, and then they only lose 1 small drop. With Charming Rogue, a small drop can take him out, but then they have to discard something. So again, what I was talking about with You've Forgotten Me, this is the same thing. And I think they're going to be less likely to want to challenge into him because card in hand is more potential than card on board most of the time. Until you get to like the late game, then you're just
in turn like 2, 3, 4. Yeah, definitely card in hand. And the fact of the matter is, psychology does play a little bit of effect in it. Most people are more interested in discarding their higher cost cards early in the game than their lower cost cards, because they're not seeing that far ahead. They're like, it's going to be a lot of turns if we even get there before I'm dropping
But you need ink.
Let me drop my Sven. Let me drop my King Triton. Discard him to Flynn Rider. Then that's one less huge, body that you got to take care of later in the game versus a 2/2 or a 3/3 or whatever. So yeah, I'm at A for Flynn Rider as well.
Yeah.
All right, Genie the Not So Impressive.
Okay, you say that. The same thing I said about Mini. He is a 2/3 for 2. This is the gold standard of 2 drops.
Our gold standards are very different. I still think he's good. But our gold standards are very different.
Again, he's going to trade well with most other 2 drops and 1 drops. And there's also the fact that he is a shift target for Powers Unleashed, which is a rare and it does cost 6, but you slot out a 3-lore 3/5 on turn 6 that can win you games, and it has evasive. So Genie, ever impressive, is an A for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him at B, but again, I'm not going to fault you for taking him that high. All right, who we got next?
We have Horus, No Good Scoundrel, who I would put at like the lower end of B. He's a flipped wardrobe, which is still decent. He can take out what we've seen, like the Elsa Queen Regents, those sort of things.
Yeah.
But he dies a little easier. Like he dies to Captain Hook. So.
Yeah, I've been debating back and forth because I haven't played with him enough. So this is going to be more of a hypothesis for me. Would I prefer 3/4 or 4/3? My instincts tell me the 3/4 because of the amount of times where that 4th willpower has become so useful. But yeah, to your point, if this starts getting later in the game, because I'm kind of thinking turn 3, 4, 5, right? If this starts getting turn 6, 7, 8, would I rather have 4 strength that dies to more? And it can swing higher, or would I rather the 3/4? So I think this one very much depends on the point of the game, which means that it should probably be relatively equivalent because you don't know when you're going to draw it. It's just as likely either way. So I'd put it as a C.
Wardrobe is better for taking out small things. Horus can take out Ariel or Sinister Visitor.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, all right, Jasper Common Crook.
A tier or higher.
Can I draft him before we even start?
I wouldn't necessarily put him in S tier,
Yeah.
just because he's not as game winny as Elsa. Elsa exerts them so you can get rid of them, whereas Jasper's just like, I can't quest,
Yeah.
which is still very good. So solid A.
So the funny thing is I like this common better than Iago, um,
Hmm.
because the effect is relatively the same, but you get a 2/4 body instead.
Hmm.
So
And you don't need to choose between that and questing. What I will say in
exactly,
favor of Iago, and we're not in the rares video, what I will say in favor of Iago now is that Reckless does force them to challenge. It forces them to exert.
yeah. The reason why I equate it relatively to Reckless is because, yes, there are characters that they just absolutely don't want to challenge with. But if you're making it so that they can't quest every turn, so that they're kind of useless, they're going to want to challenge anyway. If they've got something else to challenge with, Reckless, it's the same thing. Like, they can get rid of the characters in the way, the exerted characters beforehand if they've got a huge board, right?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it's not the same. And Reckless does have its points where it's better. But it's close enough for me that the fact that it can quest and is a 2/4, I prefer it. I still have it as a B just because I think that there's other things more powerful than this that I'd rather take ahead of it. But I'm certainly thrilled to have it in the deck.
Yeah.
By contrast, it's okay.
Jumbo Jukuba, Renegade Scientist, B. Just solid B. He's fine. I'm not picking him first. He's fine. If I'm an Emerald, I don't mind him being in the deck. Again, I'm not picking him first. So
For the very reason you said that, I put him at C for that exact. Like, just copy and paste what you just said, but that's a C for me. All right. I am so happy that Mad Hatter is actually a good card. I was worried it's going to be some random effect, like flip a coin and do this type thing. How is it a common?
How is this a common? Right? He makes 3 lore and he draws cards. It's just a common.
And especially in draft where removal's so slim, like, so you almost have to challenge. Like, to your point earlier, like, challenging is really how you remove characters in draft most of the time. So if this just read 4 inkable for a 2/4 3 lore draw card, you'd be S tier.
Well, he's 5. It's 5.
Sorry, 5. Yeah. Still, you'd be S tier, right? Apparently, I haven't read the cards enough. No. I assure you I have, because I've played him with Just in Time a lot. But so good. And at common.
Very good.
Like, I'm really concerned about decks with like
3
or 4
It is uncommon, but yeah, you're very likely to see him.
Common, uncommon. What's the? Do you remember what the pack disbursement is?
I think it's 6 commons, 4 uncommons.
Okay, so it's still gonna be. You're not gonna see him as often, but I don't know. I don't know about you if you've had the same feeling, but it feels like if it's common or uncommon, I almost see them just as frequently. It feels like.
Oh no, I think it's 3 uncommons because it's.
Okay.
It has to add up to 12 because there's commons, uncommons,
and then there's
2 rares and a foil.
Yeah. I think you're
so
right.
I think it's 3 uncommons.
Yeah. So very, very good. Maybe I should have him at S tier. I don't know. I have him at A. I'm always like, something has to be perfect for me to like slam dunk make it first pickable. So I'm picky. I'm one of those that never gives like 10 out of 10. So factor that into my rankings here. But he's very, very good. You should be very.
I would put him in A.
Yeah. Who we got next?
Megara pulling the strings, I would put as a solid B. Her stats by themselves are not great for a 2-drop, but her on-play ability can win drafts. For the same reasons I gave for Maximus in the Amber video, this is just kind of the flip of that. It allows small things to trade up. Very nice. And unlike Vicious Betrayal, she has a body. So you can quest for lore or use her. Like Megara, another Megara. I think she's solid. Definitely not a first pick. So that's why I'm putting her in B.
Yeah, so I've got her at C. But quite frankly, I think it's a high C in that I'm less worried about her 1 willpower in draft than I am constructed, because you're not worried about Giant Fairy, wrecking the place, or grab your swords wrecking the place. So the chances are she's going up against a 2/2 or a 3/2 or something like that. So her body on the board is probably going to trade with something, and then you've got that +2 for a 2 cost. And again, with Prince Ali be one of your alternatives at a 2-drop, I'm relatively happy to have this as a 2-drop. So out of desperation, this might be a B in Emerald for me, but I like it at C just overall. Mickey Mouse Steamboat Pilot. We've talked about the 3/4s.
I think I put wardrobe in B.
Yeah, B to
I
C,
don't remember.
somewhere in that range. I think you had
This
B,
is the
I
same
had
card.
C. Yeah,
It's the
watch
same
Amber
card.
and Amethyst. Rewind, you'll see it.
Yeah, there is the thing where he is a shift target for Artful Rogue, but you're not going to do much with Artful Rogue in draft. You're not going to have enough actions to really make him do anything.
Yeah, quite frankly, I probably wouldn't be looking to. Artful Rogue, it kind of feels like Hades a little bit, in that you're not really going to play him that much in draft, considering how high cost uninkable he is. But yeah. All right, who do we got next? Now we got to go.
Peter Pan Never Landing, just solid A card. Evasive is fantastic in drafts because, again, most of your stuff is going to be through challenging. If your opponent doesn't have evasives, they have no way to get rid of him. He's just going to be there forever.
Yeah, and even trades up with a lot of 4 costs. With all the 4 cost evasives, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all have 3 willpower. So
yep.
Yeah, I like him. I put him at B, but it was a high B, so I could definitely see an A for Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Sadly, if we're on the fence about 1/3s for 1, how do you feel about a 1/4 for 2?
This drab little crab is very, very drab indeed. D.
So cute, but that doesn't make a good draft.
I don't care. D. Why isn't he a villain? I get that, but if LeFou Instigator isn't a villain because he's an ally, because LeFou's an ally, then Tamato, a drab little crab, should still be a villain. And I am very upset that he is not, because it means I can't put him in my Emerald villain deck.
You don't be tempted to put in a 2-cost one.
But no, D for this crap.
Yeah. Pass. Admire him, his adorableness, and then pass him. By contrast, Tinkerbell most helpful.
Okay. If I'm gonna pick an S tier out of Emerald commons or uncommons, probably Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
She is Pongo with upside, which we will talk about that when we get to Ruby, but Ruby just gets shafted so much in stat lines.
Right.
But yeah, Tinkerbell is the closest thing Emerald has to an S tier in the commons.
And not an irrelevant second ability either. Like, considering, as you mentioned, evasive wins drafts. So if your opponent's got evasive on the board, and you can throw something non-evasive up against it on your turn. So notably, it is on your turn. If anyone's confused, that effectively means it's an aggressive ability. It's you give one of your non-evasives evasive on your turn to be able to challenge into your opponent's evasive characters.
Yeah. The best case scenario is you give this to Giant Fairy or Heroic Outlaw.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking a little bit smaller. My best case scenario is you give this to Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist, against their Pongo or...
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say best case scenario. Like, even the worst case scenarios here are great.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Good card.
Suffice to say, if her secondary ability is useless, that means you're probably winning, because your opponent doesn't have evasives, so you're in a good spot. So yeah, this is the only S... I think maybe out of all the colors, I might have given like 3 S tiers to commons and uncommons, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
All right, next.
This might be another one. Mother knows best. It's singable. It is removal. I know it's not hard removal. It's not a Dragonfire, but it costs 3. It is... I don't know why this doesn't cost 1. Because it costs 1 in Magic.
Too good.
But
it's already good at 3.
It's what we got, and it is great. High A, low S. It's removal.
Yeah, honestly, I was really surprised at how impactful return to their hand is in this game, because it's all relative value, right? Yes, in Magic, this would be 1 cost. But in this game, even at 3, this is really impactful. This is really good. Take it. Love it. Sing it.
Yeah.
By contrast, Stampede. Hey.
So Stampede, I would give it... Honestly, I would probably give it like a low B, a high C. It is removal, and if you don't have Steel, this is probably the best you're going to get, but it is uninkable, which can be a factor. But if you have a mostly inkable deck anyway, then maybe it goes up to B. Yes, it is worse than Fire the Cannons, but it still is a ping. It still is damage. It's still something.
Yeah, again, this draft comes down to that war of attrition. You're back and forth, back and forth. You're stalled for a bit. You're surviving damage and not and all that, and you end up with a board with 3 willpower with 1 damage on it, and this one with 2, and so on and so forth. And so there's going to be plenty of times where it's usable. I'm still not thrilled at all about this. For me, it's a low C, but desperate times call for desperate measures, my friends. And removal is removal, so you should pick it up and just cry that you're not steel. Sudden Chill. I think you're going to like it more than I do. Go ahead.
So Sudden Chill, it is inkable, it is singable, it only costs 2, it removes a card. So when I talked about this in the Amber video with You Have Forgotten Me, that there is absolutely a place for discard. Sudden Chill only gets rid of 1 card, so it's still kind of wrecking the ink curve, but it's not as impactful. And I think a lot of the time this may end up as ink in that deck. So I would probably give this a C in draft. It doesn't have as big of an impact as You Have Forgotten Me, but it is syncable and it is inkable. So yeah, we're just gonna sit that in C.
I mean, I guess we're not far off because I've got it at D, which means you're picking it and being relatively satisfied, and I'm putting in my deck if I must. Yeah, as opposed to You Have Forgotten Me, where you're getting, if it works, you're getting card advantage out of it. You're getting a 2-for-1. This is parity, and you're not affecting the board. It really concerns me when I'm not affecting the board almost at any point in the game. So even though it's only 2, it's withholding my ability to actually throw something down that's going to do something. I don't love it, but at the same time, I'll probably end up playing it from time to time.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we've got The Beast Is Mine.
C, like there are definitely best case scenarios where this wins you games, but usually this is going to be ink.
Yeah, which is why I have it at D. It's at that tier for me that it's like, it's inkable, so it's probably going to be fine in your deck, but yeah. So for me, funny enough, the times where I'm happiest with it is not as forcing your opponent to challenge, it's preventing them from questing.
Yeah, exactly.
This could easily just say prevent from questing, and I would consider it relatively the same, and it's got some upside to that. So some upside is sometimes you can force them to challenge in with their Elsa Snow Queen that is taking over the game. Yeah. All right, what do we got next?
We have Vicious Betrayal, which I would put at a B, maybe a high B. Again, so this is doing exactly what Megara does, except it doesn't have a body, but it does have a potential better use case if you have some villains out, which there's plenty of those in Emerald.
There is a lot.
So I like this. You can get some good trades. It's definitely not A tier. It's definitely not a first pick, but you're not too sad grabbing it.
The thing is, even if you're getting ink advantage out of this, in other words, it's allowing you to trade up, you're not getting card advantage out of it. You're getting negative card advantage out of it. So in this war of attrition, again, if we're racing, then maybe. If I got to push through a bodyguard, then maybe. But again, you're giving yourself an automatic negative card advantage. Unless it happens to be you have a very low strength and very high willpower character and your character survives. But we're talking fringe cases here. So I've got it at a D because I'm not looking to 2-for-1 myself. But again, I'm not going to fault you for playing it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Dr. Facilier's cards. Can we agree that's an F?
Yeah, absolutely. You are not. I don't even see a constructed deck that runs this. I don't think there are enough.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
actions.
there's an action card deck in the future, but at this point.
Maybe like in an Artful Rogue deck or something, which I haven't tried to make one of those yet. This is no place in draft at all.
Yeah. Why couldn't they just make mana rocks? Why couldn't they just make 2 cost, produce an ink? I mean, is that too much to ask? Stolen Scimitar.
C. If you get Aladdin's, I would put it.
Did we actually go opposite on these? I've got it at B.
It is B if you have Aladdin's. If you don't have Aladdin's, it is a C. It is very often going to be ink. Yes, it is repeatable, but +1 strength, that's basically hey territory. I have not personally seen it used to too great of an effect yet.
Yeah, so obviously you're not getting the 1 lore or 2 lore that you're going to get out of Hey Hey, but you're probably going to be able to use it more often. And we had Hey Hey in at sea, I believe. So I don't know. It's one of those things. Obviously, late, it's miserable.
Yeah,
But if
because
you can get this out
you
early,
need a character on the board to do anything with it. Is the
yeah.
problem.
I mean, it's never going to be card advantage, or not never. It's infrequently going to be card advantage for the same problem as Vicious Betrayal. But I'm eking out enough ink advantage over the course of a game that I'm relatively happy with it. Like, yeah, I might draft a little bit later, and it probably is available. Again, kind of metagaming. You're probably going to be able to find it in the last few picks, to wheel. But I think it could see some use. We'll see.
Okay.
All right, we blitzed through that one. So now that we've gone through, how do you actually feel? Where do you feel like Emerald sits for you in terms of colors?
Yeah, I think Emerald is pretty solid. Again, we have the evasives, we have the anti-questing naughtiness, we've got a bit of playing with strength values. I think overall it's a decent draft color.
I mean, we had a lot of high-ranked cards in there. We had, you have Duke of Wesselton very high. We had Flynn Rider very high. You had Genie Ever Impressive very high. Jasper Common Crook very high. Mad Hatter. We've got Peter Pan Never Landing. We've got Tinkerbell Most Helpful. We got Mother Knows Best. There's a lot of really great hits. Just in the
I don't think there's anything in here as broken as Elsa Snow Queen or Simba Protective Cub, but I think there's a lot more that is of a higher quality.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, and that's, that kind of factors in how do you assess the quality of a color? Is it kind of consistency or is it power? I think if we're talking power,
I think Emerald has
Amethyst might be one of the more powerful ones, just at common and uncommon, having Maleficent and Friends on the Other Side. But I do like the consistency of Emerald. Awesome. We've got some time. Do you want to do the outro now?
Yeah, let's do the outro
for later. Let's tell the people about yourself, sir.
I am a fleshy meat bag, I guess. Ingest food and get rid of it at points. So yeah, I have a YouTube channel that I've been posting a lot of videos on. It's the same as the username here, We Are the Great. You can find me there. I do gameplay videos. I do deck tech videos where I go through my thoughts about putting together constructed decks. I also do I talk about card reveals. I talk about how basic gameplay, like I'm slowly building up a series of how to play videos and things like that. So it's broad stuff. I also do plan to do some more stuff on Disney Villainous as we get more releases from that. We have Introduction to Evil is coming out this week as a revamping of some of the original characters. And we have the Oogie Boogie standalone for Halloween.
I will tell you my least favorite part about reveal season being over is that I don't get the Illumineers room anymore. That was like my favorite part of new drops. This man loves to sing. He loves to put on a show. Even though you already know the cards, go back and watch them because they're really good entertainment.
Oh, I am glad to be able to entertain. And I'm sure the Illumineers room will be back as soon as we get any information on whatever the next set is called.
Yeah, whether it's spoilers or anything, I want to see it back. Any news pieces, just bring out Iago and. Awesome.
Yeah, he will be back. Don't worry.
Thank you so much for joining us, Wero. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate you taking the time. So.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
All right. See y'all on the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you everyone for watching. It's truly an honor to see you enjoying our videos. Thank you to Lorcana.com for having us as one of their featured creators, and thank you to the amazing community coming together around this incredible game. Please like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see on our next video. Until next time, if you'd like to continue with us on this journey, please be our guest.